Take the time to enjoy the reason why you are here, the purpose. This guide is to find your life and narrow your focus. True living, cultivate your purpose. Available on Amazon now today. Pick up your copy. Hey, bless up, fam. Thank you so much for coming back to Eco Nation news that you may or you may not be able to use. I want to tell you thank you so much for you just showing, for you to comment. Please enjoy this live. Please share it out. Hit the like. And if you're not subscribed, what you waiting for? Go ahead and click the subscribe. So welcome on in and let's go. Welcome to Eco Nation News. So let's go. Hey. Good evening. For those of you who are celebrating this beautiful holiday, thank you for coming on in. Hey, Gigi, happy Thursday to you. Happy Thursday to you. Kenyatta's Journey, how you doing today? If y'all can, give me some thumbs up. Give me some thumbs up if you can hear me and see me. Welcome in, everybody. Hope y'all having a great day. Hope everything's going well for you. How's the holiday been? Y'all can hear me and see me. Give me some thumbs up, please. Give me some thumbs up. My Renaissance, how you doing? Good to see you. Green Grass Grows, good evening. Welcome in. Thank y'all for coming in. Hope y'all have had a fantastic holiday or day off, or whether you had a day off. I was surprised that here it is, the 4th of July, and just about practically everything was open. I mean, we live in a world now where we really don't too much celebrate too many holidays, and it seems like every holidays these days are controversial now. You know, it used to be where years ago where you came in and you came into a city, you came into a town, and you could tell that it was a holiday. You know, everybody gathered around, and you had to scurry real quick and real fast the day prior to go ahead and get all your food, get all your napkins, get all your aluminum foil, get all your seasoning. You had to get everything because the day that holiday, and it depends on which holiday. Some holidays you may get 1 or 2 days where the town would just shut down completely. But now we're living in a world where first it was like maybe just a convenience store opened up about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. And I'm just talking about the South. Maybe in your area, if you, no matter whether you're from another country or maybe you're in a large city or something like that, you probably didn't experience that. But here, in my experience, in the South, the cities would just shut down, you know. And even if grocery stores or something like that were open, very few stores would open that morning. Shoot, by lunchtime, everything is shut down and everybody will fellowship and congregate. And today, Gigi and I, we just went around, and earlier today, we just went around and just rode around. And I just noticed, it's almost like Christmas time. I don't know if you ever noticed, but when we were young adults, or in our 20s, I should say, even in our 30s, you would ride around neighborhoods, and that's what we did. We just kind of went out for a ride today. We went a ride and took a look at some water and just went through a few towns and just took a little ride, nice little relaxing ride. But notice no one was out. Didn't see no grills cooking, didn't see no, you know, we did see around the lake activity. Wherever there's water, you typically will see some activity, but I really didn't see too much activity as far as neighborhoods. It's almost like Christmas time now. You know, you used to have to be careful when you drive through on Christmas morning because kids will be riding their bikes in the South or be playing on their new toys and different things like that. But it's still just a somber type environment. So I don't know. Things are different, and it's just all about just adjusting to those things and getting adjusted to those nuances. Almost like our subject that we're going to be talking about today. So I appreciate you coming in, and I'm hoping that you all did get overworked or overheated today, and hope you enjoyed somewhat of your family and your friends and enjoyed this day of relaxation and celebration too as well. Today was a good day, Gigi. Thank you. Let's see. LGGG, what's going on? Good to see you. Welcome in, everybody. I don't see no thumbs up. Okay, I see Kenyatta. Thank you for giving me the thumbs up. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I see some thumbs up. All right. I just want to make sure I'm not talking to myself, because sometimes you could be just going, and you think everybody can hear you and see you, and you think that's it. But today we're gonna jump on this evening. We're gonna go ahead and just jump right on in and understand the chat is available to you. And if y'all want to chime in and let me know, we're gonna start off this conversation with we're going to have a little things that we're going to talk about. But the first thing in the topic of this afternoon we're going to talk about is affordable housing and overworked. I have been reading articles where people are working anywhere from 60 to 100 hours. Let me say this again. Individuals, I'm not talking about single family homes. I'm talking about some of these people have two sources of income, and they're working 60 hours to 100 hours a week. And people say, well, people have been doing that for a long time. But this is the crazy thing. The alarming factor when it comes to this is they are still begging for housing. They are still begging for affordable housing. And that really blows my mind. There should not be a time in our history in this land of wealth where we give away billions upon billions of dollars, where we do a lot of billion-dollar transactions, where we do all these grants, and we keep the money circulating in controlled environments. I'll leave it at it like that. Like what I mean by controlled environments, like we leave it in the financial institutions' hands, we leave it in the government hands, we leave it in a lot of hands that's supposed to distribute the money amongst the people, but they choose. And most of the people in the financial district, as well as the government district, they're not hurting for homes. They're not hurting for houses. They're not understanding the challenges that people face. It does not mean they have not experienced it in their life. And let me straighten that up. But current situations are not like 1980, not like 1990. Now, there are some parallels to a lot of different things, but we're living in a time where things are really dramatically changed. And psychologically, people are still turning their backs on the psychological effect of 2020. I don't think people really understand the magnitude of the psychological shock and the effect, not only for our youth, our young adults, but also for the people who were impacted greatly. Far as you got loss of life. It's almost like back in the days during the HIV pandemic, where we were having friends, we were having classmates, we were having co-workers, we were having friends, people that we knew in our community, and we were just literally losing them every single week. And people don't talk about the psychological piece of that. And when we dive in and we take a look at some of those things, it affects you in so many different ways. And if you're working, imagine someone that's let's just say you got two people in the household. I cannot imagine a single parent these days. I don't even want to wrap my brain around a single parent living in a metropolitan city that's working 60 to 100 hours and got 1+ kids to be responsible for. To me, that is very scary, and that is alarming. And my heart goes out to those individuals, because I couldn't even fathom knowing you need to be home at certain times. I just look at certain things like the kids are sick, daycare. You can't keep them in daycare. The amount of time that they will be in daycare. Then you got after school care. You got school. You got the hours change in school. You got all kinds of days off in school, and these things, and you're trying to keep and sustain that household. You're trying to provide for that household. and working all those many hours, and you're still struggling to just keep a roof over your head. To me, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable in this country. That's unacceptable with all the leniency that we give to other countries. And when I say leniency, they go through struggles, they go through turmoil, and we are quick to respond to provide resources. And I don't know what's the answer. I don't have the answer. Because if you have people who have, just say, matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll, family. Y'all with a poll, put some thumbs up if you're in a poll. Let me go through the chat. But if y'all with doing this poll, let me know. Give me some thumbs up. Let me go in the chat. Make sure I'm speaking to everybody. If I miss you, welcome on in. Thank you for coming in to the channel. Really appreciate it. I experienced this in New Jersey. This is let me put this up. I experienced this in New Jersey. I got some overgrown bushes and trees on the home and the rental property. Not quite sure. Maybe you having a conversation. Not quite sure what that's in reference to. Let's see. The people got to start thinking for themselves, Eco. Yeah, I mean, but some of us, I don't know. I get it. I mean, a lot of people, and I have to be cautious what I say and how I say it, because you have different classes of people. What I should say class. You have different mindsets of people. Some people are not giving an effort, a true effort. They're not doing the work. They're not putting in the work. Then you got some people, I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people who really, who went to school, went to college, who graduated college, who couldn't find a job in their field. And if they found a job in their field, they're paying them basically the same things if they didn't go to college. And I'm watching this happen throughout the workforce. And here it is, you went to college, now you're packed with student loans in most cases. I'm not saying there's always a few people, but I'm talking about a large number of people. They have these student loans. They may be making $1 or $2 over minimum wage. And if they didn't go to college, they just went on to the workforce. By now, they'd probably be making more than that because of the fact that they would have had some experience and they would have been able to get a job at a little bit more than that versus you in college, it gets you in the door, you're in your field, but then you're not making money and you're working 60 to 100 hours per week. And you got a family and you're struggling and you're trying to figure out whether you pay your car payment to get you to work or you give everything to your rent or mortgage. And that's a real battle. You know, that's a real struggle that people are really doing. And that's that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who are trying to be responsible, who are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to be creative. They have multiple jobs. They work in, some people work 2 full-time jobs, 2 part-time jobs and a full-time job. Some people work a full-time job and a part-time job, and they still struggle. What I'm saying, that should be unacceptable. We should have, if we have people that we depend on to organize our communities, our government, we should have different areas. Have your affluent, have a gated communities or whatever, but then it also should be, we should have set aside, instead of all this greed for capitalism, we should have a balance where here's a area where the cost of homes are XYZ, rather than just continuously be greedy to get tax money. I think we should have certain communities where it's a true working class. We provide great schools. We got different tax incentives. We got different flexible school hours. We got after school programs. If we're going to work our people from 60 to 100 hours, we should have resources for them in multiple ways. And we should give incentives, rebates, reductions, and tax incentives, or even income tax credits or different things like that to help out some of these families that are truly going. You can put an age group on that. You can put a salary group on that. You can even tie it to certain businesses. I mean, we can be creative. We've done it in the past. We've done it for decades. And all of this stuff, it used to be now, I used to save my doctor visits and my co-pays, and I could actually see me submitting that on my income tax return and see a benefit from that. It used to be where you used to have different things that if you were in a certain salary bracket, you could get into certain communities, get in certain apartments, get in certain leases where it welcomed that situation. But we're having more and more people who don't have those choices, don't have those options. Nobody in government is playing fair or legal. They are abusing the law and then say, oops, my bad. Most people just don't want to be bothered. They have given up. See, I've heard that. I definitely heard that. And matter of fact, me and Gigi had a conversation when she asked me what I was going to live for. And one of the things we were talking about, do people really care about affordable housing? Do people really care about people that are overworked? And if you in position of power or a position of making those choices and you not going through those things, or you're not currently in those situations, then do you really understand the implications of some of the rules and some of the things that you are implying? And are you really connected to the people, what they're doing and what they're going through? So, hey, Belinda, how you doing? Douglas, I miss Douglas 162. Welcome on in. I didn't see you. Let's see. There you go. Okay. Hey, welcome on in. Thank you for coming on in. Like the little kitty cat. Thank you for coming in. Be Rich, what's up? Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate you supporting the channel as well. Thank you. Y'all, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. All right, let's I see some thumbs up. Let's do a poll. Hey, Virtuous Garden, how you doing? Virtuous Garden and family, how you doing today? Good to see you. Good to see you. Bless up to you. So, what do you think is a good, affordable rent per month? And I want you to put down, what do you think is a good, affordable rent per month? And then put down your state, or put down the state that you think that this should be in. And I know different parts of the state, like I'll give you an example. Florida, North Florida is different from Central Florida, and it's different from South Florida. And South Florida is different from Southwest Florida. So I get it. Jacksonville is different from Southwest Florida. I understand all of those different regions are different, but just give me an idea. Let's just take a poll. Let's just take a look and see. What do you think is a fair month to month rent for let's just say a standard family? So let's just say 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. What do you feel like would be a great month-to-month rent if we had to put the numbers on there? And I know it will vary, because you can't expect the same thing in South Florida as you can in South Georgia. I get it, but I'm just curious. I'm gonna go back to the chat while everybody put in their numbers. We're gonna take a look at the numbers. Weldon, how you doing? Good to see you. Not one candidate discussed this so far, other than RFK. You realize how long that is, Weldon? That's what I'm saying. I wasn't even born with RFK, and that's sad. I mean, that is pathetic. And the issue has been here well beyond RFK. But to me, I think the magnitude is a little bit more intense right now. Because let me share this with you, Weldon. You look real young. I don't know that's your icon, but you look real young, and I appreciate you coming in. And thank you so much for putting. It takes strength and it takes courage to put in your opinion in the chat, and I appreciate that. I welcome that, and I thank you all. And it doesn't mean we have to be on the same page, but I'm trying to tell you, When I first entered the workforce, if you worked a full-time job, you could afford rent. You might couldn't afford like this extravagant portion of time, but you didn't feel bothered about that. It would probably be like, okay, for me to live in a nice portion of time, I might have to do a little bit extra, but not a whole lot. Or I might have to give up some stuff, but it was doable. It was obtainable. We are having people right now that are working 60 and 100 hours a week. And the low hanging rent is not even affordable. We are having young adults cohabitating. I heard, I think it was on YouTube, where a guy had the credit and he just so happened to come into some money, and all of his friends are struggling. They're in a metropolitan city, well-to-do. They all have careers. They all in their careers, and they're struggling to pay their rent. They're young adults. They're young working professionals. And what he did, he was able, with some money that he inherited, he bought a home, and I think it was a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, or something like that. And what he does, he can't really afford it because of the taxes and the insurance has risen. So what he does, he rents out each bedroom. Now, he is breaking the law. I won't name the city because he told me the city, or he said the city, but he is breaking the law because the laws have it where you can't do like those types of sublease over so many bedrooms. And he stated the rules that were in that city, which made no sense. If I own my house, I'm paying for my house, I should be able to do what I want to do with my house, as long as I'm not impeding or causing a problem with other people. And then there was another guy in the same discussion who had the HOA come in and tell them he was doing somewhat the same thing. He didn't have as many people in his home, but the problem was they had too many cars in the driveway and the neighbors were complaining. And people are trying to do the right thing. It was nothing about he keeping the yard clean, keeping it cut, keeping the house clean. It had nothing to do with that. The people complained that there was too many cars. The driveway was always full. No cars were parked on the road. He said no cars were parked on the curbside, none of that. But too many cars, and they would have to move. He said we would have to, sometimes in the morning, we have to move our cars out the way so one car could get in, but we tried to park and position ourselves so we didn't have to interrupt each other because they had different shifts. But this is the world we're living in. We're living in a world where no RVs, no mobile homes, certain square foot houses. So the minimum is more than the small average home, and it's no compassion whatsoever for an everyday working person who can't afford a mansion, can't afford the average, quote, if there is a middle class home, and they're struggling. And then you're not giving them no other options. So the manifesting, what's going on? The manifestor's mind. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome and welcome to Eco Nation. Welcome on in. Welcome. Thank you for coming in. Let's go back to the chat. Okay. I'm in a different stage of life. Worked 50 years in the disability community, 25 years, second job to put the children through college, prepping for retirement. That's what's up. You understand the whole concept of going through this process and going through this struggle. But I still say, with your experience, wouldn't you agree that a lot of our younger generation need help? And it's not because they're not doing anything, but they're trying to put through some efforts. They're trying to do what they need to do. But my message to a lot of youth is consider You're very creative. You got a lot of good ideas. You got great problem solving. You like organizing. You love social issues. How about forming communities? Maybe consider getting out of these cities. Maybe consider getting out of these places and forming some true communities in some of these rural places that people don't even care nothing about, and these small towns that are perishing, that people have left because of coal mines, because of this, because of that. It's beautiful land, beautiful places, but why not try to put some things together? Because if we keep feeding this monster, this cycle where we own nothing and we work tirelessly till we broken down and we do this, something has to stop. It's almost like um, during the civil rights, during the boycott, where people didn't go to work and people didn't ride buses. Until that money dries up, change won't happen. And it has to be some type of unification, some type of um, commonality of ideas and some creative thinking. Now, that's just there's 50 million ideas out there that I know our youth can come up with, and us being here in our capacity, we should be promoting it, and we should help out in any kind of way that we possibly can, because these struggles are real, and mentally it's putting a lot of stress. It's putting a lot. Our youth just went through the pandemic. Everything has changed. Social gatherings have changed. And even though we're trying to get back to social gathering, you still got it in the back of your mind. You still had this thing where you have these shootings, you have all of this other stuff. And all of this stuff we used to have, but we never had the quote pandemic. Then you had the financial collapse in '08, just prior to that. It's a lot of anxiety, it's a lot of stress. And now with the inflation getting higher and higher and higher, and it's putting having a roof over your head further and further apart and further away. And we're seeing more and more people living in cars, living in tent communities, trying to come up with some creative ways, small, tiny homes, but we're watching ordinance against a lot of that, ordinance against people renting out portions of um, their home. What else is what else can people do? I don't know what else they do. Let me go down and take a look and see some of y'all poll answers. I'm just curious to see what it is. I'm glad to hear you. Happy Mac, how you doing? You say you're in the bushes. I see you. Is that the off grid? Yeah, that's the off grid. What's going on? Many blessings to you, my brother. What's going on? Belinda, 800. Okay, all right. Here we go. We got the first number. So Belinda is Northwest Florida. $800 to $1,000. $800 to $1,000 a month. I mean, I'm not gonna go against that. I mean, I appreciate you. I welcome that. I'm just trying to think, what is that per hour to be comfortable? Because it used to be where rent was 25 max or less of your income. So 25 or less of your income. So that means if it's $1,000, 750 should be in your bank account after you pay. No, I'm sorry. What am I doing? So 25% of y'all help me out with that. So that means that if it's $1,000 and $1,000 is 25%, that means the average person should be making $4,000 a month. Now I'm clicking. It's late. It's afternoon. So $4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. Let me do $4,000 a month. And I just want to show you what we're facing, y'all. So $4,000 a month, and we're talking about bringing home. We're not talking about prior taxes. We're talking about we need to be bringing home $4,000 a month if we got $1,000, right? And divided by 160. That's how it's 4 weeks in a month, so 160. That's a minimum. A minimum. And this is $25. So if you add plus, let's say taxes, just say taxes at 20%. So that individual need to be making about $30 an hour. Now, maybe if it's two, just say in that same scenario, if it's two individuals working, when we used to have a time where you only needed one person working, and one person could take care of everything. That one person had a good job working full time, and I say good job. That one person typically could take care of everything. So we're looking at $30 an hour. If we got people where they making $14, $13 an hour, and I know in Northwest Florida, because I'm familiar with the area, you're looking at probably the average starting salary around that area is anywhere from $13 to $14 an hour. So that individual probably need two people working, or one person plus a part-time job. And that shows you. Belinda is sharing you attainable that looks attractive, but that shows you how out of whack we are. When rent should be anywhere from $500 to $600 a month based on how much we make. If someone is making $14, $15 an hour, rent shouldn't be no more than $500 to $600. And that's what we're looking at in comparison with the inflation. So we're looking at double right now. We're comfortable with double where we should be at. We're comfortable with that. This part of the problem why we struggle. This is part of the problem. So Greengrass Grove says 1650 to 19, PA, Pennsylvania. So now we're going to another market, and I don't know what's the going salary, what's the going rate in PA, but the average, in order to do that, let's just say we're gonna do it again. Let's look at $1,900. $1,900 times 4, because that's a quarter of your bring home after tax. I'm not talking about prior taxes. I'm talking about after taxes. So that's $7,600 that the individual needs to be bringing home after taxes and benefits taken out and all that good stuff. For that person to really kind of feel comfortable, like what our standard used to be. Our standard used to be anywhere from 20 to 25% of your income. That's what the standard used to be decades ago. But we've gone so far out of whack that means that household should be making $7,600. Now let me add taxes. I'm not talking about retirement, not talking about prepaid plans, not talking about all the other stuff, but I'm just saying a clean scenario. So here we are, let's go plus 25%. Now, some states got state taxes. State of Florida don't have state taxes. So this 25% is not including state taxes. So if you got state taxes, you need to add probably about another 5 to 10% on top of what I'm saying. So plus 25%. That means that household needs to be at the minimum bringing in $9,500 per month, almost $10,000 per month. I don't know that scenario. That may be common. And if I say 9,000 divided by 160, 9,500 divided by 160. That's $59.38 an hour. Let me say that one more time. That's $59.38 an hour. If we were really living and had this thing organized like what the standard used to be, the standard of your mortgage or rent should be no more than 20 to 25% of your take home. Because now they will approve you, but I'm saying if you are a person that really want to be realistic with life and really want to look at having room for inflation, things you can't control, like the stove tearing up, your taxes going up, your insurance going up, your light bill goes up, your AC goes out. I look at what I'm bringing home month to month. What I'm bringing home month to month, 20 to 25%, my mortgage should not exceed that. Now, some people and most of us don't have that choice. Sad part about it, here's an article I read that, matter of fact, let me go into some of this. Let me keep going first, and I'm gonna share something that's gonna shake your world right now. Well, it says $1,300 a month for two income household with at most 3 kids. The sad part about these days, and even years ago, Weldon, I think you brought up something very critical. Do you not know that if you're paying, just say we're looking at $1,900 a month for rent or mortgage, do you know in most communities, in most cases, in most metropolitan cities and areas, your child care, if you got young kids in diapers, young kids pre-public school or what have you, pre-K, let's say pre-K, you had 1 or 2 kids in that daycare. Typically, those parents are paying more for daycare than they are their rent and mortgage. That's scary. And some of you all may disagree with that, but I have witnessed this happen. Even when we had kids, I know I'm dating myself, but our mortgage at the time was like maybe $575. But at one time we were paying $875 for 2 kids in daycare at that time. Our mortgage was $575 and our daycare was $875 for 2 kids. Not counting, you still got to bring in diapers, wipes, and I'm not even gonna go. That still infuriates me, formula, whatever, because you got to understand, my child did not use that many diapers, didn't use that many wipes. And I'm telling you, I was still paying. They would have these little excursions. They would do these different things. They would have these little fundraisers. It was nickel and diming me to death for all the way through daycare, through trade school. And I was like, babe, can you please just homeschool or take these kids out of daycare and please keep the kids, because it's cheaper for you to stay home than it is for us to be providing daycare. This is what's sad. So we got ATL. Let's go. Atlanta, Georgia, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, specifically $550 to $750. See, now that sounds aligned. When you get into the 500s and maybe 700s, that's where we should be. I'm thinking across the board. You're looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in these days and this time. Now, granted, you make more money, you're doing this, you got your career, but I'm saying these are entry-level people who are starting their careers, who have a couple of kids. They're in their 20s, they're in their early 30s. They have not had a lot of work experience. They just fresh out of college. They maybe have 5 years or less work experience. And we are depending on them to be paying 19, 18. You can't put certain groups in certain categories, y'all. We gotta have, it used to be where you had a job, you came into a job, you had entry level, then you had lead. Then after you had lead, you had maybe team lead, then you had supervisor, then you had assistant supervisor, then you had a manager. Those different, it seemed very antiquated now, but there was reason why they had that in those environments, so you can retain your employees. They invested in their employees. They needed people to stay there because the learning curve was so big that by the time you learn the job, it's going to take you 3 to 5 years to learn to know what you need to do to work efficient. So they had these different levels to keep people at those jobs, so they can have different positions to move forward to. So that's what I pay now. That's what you're paying now. I mean, but I guess my question was, and I asked everybody in the chat to put what would be ideal. What would be ideal for rent in your area? Gigi says 800 to 1,000. 800 to 1,000. Okay. I mean, that's Florida too. On top of that, so it's kind of aligned with Miss Belinda said too as well. Here we go. Whoever says 1,300 if minimum wage is 15 to 17. Okay, let's look at those numbers. Give some real core hard facts. So just say you're making $17 an hour, okay? And we're not talking about taxes. Times, let's just say you're working a regular 40-hour shift per week. 40 hours, 40 times 4 is 160 times 160. That's $2,720. Let me say this one more time. At $17, 160 hours. Wow. This is why I'm trying to bring this up, y'all. We have come to where we have accepted being overworked, paying too much for rent, and it has become the standard and the norm, and we are okay with it. And we need to come up with a way that we can change this. It got to change, because right now that comes to $2,720. So if you're paying $1,300 in rent, let's just say this: 2,700. I ain't no big math expert, but half of 2,700. Wouldn't you agree that half of 2,700 is $1,350? That's 50%. That's almost 50% of your income prior to taxes being taken out. Now, with this 2,720, if it's a decent job, it probably have benefits, health benefits. So you got to take that out. You might have a dental plan, because if you got kids, you might even do like one of them flex spending for your medical. You want to have everything. You might have some life insurance in there. Then you got taxes. Then you might have some retirement in there. And yes, pre-tax, but it's still coming out your check. Don't get it twisted. It's still coming out your check. So we already started at 2,720, and we add almost 50% of your income. Where is the food? Where is the childcare? Where is the oops? Where's the flat tires, the new tires? Where's the upkeep for your vehicle? Where's the oil changes? Where is the tune-ups? Where is the medical? But most of us got car payments, car insurance. Some of us got house insurance. We got renters insurance. Some of us got pets. We got vet bills. Some of us got medical bills. And kids gonna get sick. Kids are gonna get sick. This is why we are our youth is so crunched. And I get it. We I'm 50 years old. And sometimes we forget what kind of pressure is on our youth. And we got to really pay attention on what tremendous pressure is on our youth. I get it. I struggled when I was young. But this was the thing. We paid $80 per month in the hood. There were options. What I'm saying, in some of these communities, there are no options. The hotel in Orlando, plenty of people that work at restaurants, that work at multiple jobs, at these amusement parks and different places like that, they have to live at hotels. They have to live in extended stays. And they still paying out the yin-yang. They still paying 40, 50% of their income. I think that Generation X baby boomers have lost touch with really understanding what our youth is facing. I think we really are looking at our past and our situation and our struggles, but I don't really think we really understand the inflation, and they don't make nowhere near as much as what we did. Even when I made $4.25 or $5.75 an hour. I remember when I was making $5.75 an hour, I was like, shh. I had rims on my car. I had rent paid. I had tent. I had music in my system. All I had to do was just maybe pick up a little yard or two plus my job or whatever. It was no stress. It was no stress. But people, they can't have that flexibility right now. They cannot have that flexibility. Everything is being based on the credit card part. We're watching utilities accepting credit cards. It used to be certain bills that didn't take credit cards. You could not pay certain bills without having cash in your account. Now, you buy a hamburger for $10 and $13 because of swiping a card. We paying $15 for a hamburger. No fries, no drink, no upsides, no apple pie. $15. And some people don't make the $15 an hour, but we swipe. So that means here you are, you making $13, $14 an hour, and you just bought a $20 meal. And if you look back on it, most whole meals were what minimum wage were or less per hour. It used to be where you could buy a Happy Meal, or you could buy, let's just say, a Whopper meal. A Whopper meal used to run you about $3.75. And guess what the minimum wage used to be? About $3.75. The companies, the corporate America used to target the everyday working people ever since the beginning, but they used to bring it to the proximity where they can meet the people. But the difference between the $3.75 now and the $15 now is that we got this powerful thing called a credit card. And we're comfortable with using it. We're comfortable with delaying the responsibility. We're comfortable with putting the responsibility off to the side for months, even years. And some of us are for 1 month of eating out. We're paying for that 1 month for 5 years. And I'm not exaggerating. We're paying for 1 month of eating out. Let me say it, 1 month of eating out and entertainment. We're paying 5 years to pay that off. And we don't even see it. We don't even feel it because we have not taught our youth the value of a dollar. We have not taught our youth we've empowered them with a bunch of knowledge, and they have so much knowledge, but we're not applying the value system. We have dropped the ball on that. We have dropped the ball to stop the momentum of a credit society, to stop the momentum of accepting the abuse of being overworked, overstressed, and paying too much for a roof over your head. Because it's simple. If the people didn't pay, the rates would come down. If people came up with different options, we're in the time now where people coming up with different options, but guess what they're doing? They're changing the restrictions, they're changing the rules. So that's why I push about buying land. That's why I push about being creative, about thinking outside the box and doing it before people know, and having a collective mindset, helping one another out, building a community. Some of your college friends, some of your good friends, building a community. And that community, you all care for one another. You know what I'm saying? You support one another. Because this stuff is out of hand. It's completely out of hand. Here it is, LGGG, New York City, 3-bedroom, $3,000, 2-bedroom, $2,000. So it's $1,000 per bedroom. That is what it's going for. Paying your own electric, not paying for water or heating. That's what it's going for. But what should it be? What really should it be? I don't think New York City has never been quote affordable. And that's what I'm saying. I have no problem. Let me be clear with this. I have no problem whatsoever with exotic and beautiful and illustrious and well-to-do places. My problem is when New York City standards trickle down through communities where they can't support that. That's my issue. You have a choice whether you want to move to New York City, but you should also have a choice to be like, I can make a good living here and work here and be able to survive without the pressure. Now, even I don't care whether you're in the South, the North, the East, the West, rent and mortgage is so high that even if you're in an area that is less desirable or less comfortable to lay your head, it's still expensive. That's what I got a problem with. There's nothing wrong with having gated communities, nothing wrong with having different levels. Nothing wrong with that. That gives us something to drive, that gives us something to work for. But when we're looking at our youth who don't have no experience, they just started their professional career, they just starting their families, and they have no options because they're competing against 50 and 60-year-olds for basic housing. I got a problem with it. And we got people that sit in and that helps with community development, they help with city plans, they help with infrastructures. Their whole job is to build a sustainable community and a workforce community. And we got leaders that are not doing nothing. And so what I'm saying is we have to communicate. If we know people that are in leadership position, we know people that have the influence, we need to communicate some of those things. D Jackson, what's going on, D Jackson? North Florida, 1,200. North Florida, 1,200. Okay. Like I said, I know what North Florida, the average salary makes. That's a lot, y'all. Compared to the average salary, that's a lot. 1,200 is a lot of money. And I get it. But that's what's real. I lived in Florida for 6 years, but I live in Georgia now. In Florida, I would say 600, 800. See, now that's a little bit more closer to what it should be. I agree. 800 is pushing it. I still say 5 to maybe 6, pushing maybe 7. And then for Georgia, I would say 8 to 1,000. Now, I'm glad you said that, Virtuous. Most people don't know that people in Georgia probably make more than people in Florida. Most people don't know that. When I'm talking about pay, I noticed the pay was better in Georgia than it was in Florida. And I'm not talking about some of these high-rise people that are transferred in, transitioning. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about you are Floridian. You came, you went to Florida high schools, you went through the ranks, and you went and got your job, and you started a job. You might not have went to college, you might not went to technical school or trade school or anything, but you are an everyday person, and you started work. To me, the pay is better in Georgia than it is in Florida. But I'm not going to go into that, but there's different things that Florida has that Georgia don't have. And it's a different environment, even though it's real close, especially North Florida and South Georgia. It's very close, but it's still a difference. You can tell when you cross that line. But I think you're spot on. Virtuous. Okay. Let's keep going. Thank you all for chiming in. Not including any utilities. You killing me, green grass. I don't know if I even want to know anymore. I don't even know if I even want to get a clue of it. Hands in Dirt said normal area 1,800 to 2,500, close to downtown 3,500 and up. Bam. Okay. Let's play with it. Hands in Dirt. Let's play with Stacey. All right. 3,500. Once again, my friends, there's nothing wrong with affluent neighborhoods. There's nothing wrong with people having well-to-do. There's nothing wrong with that. But in that same community, there should be homes that's $1,000. Most people would disagree. But my question is, if people or having a 2 hour, hour and a half one-way commute just to come and clean your house, to wash your grandmama, or wash your granddaddy, or to cut your grass, or to fold the towels in the room after you leave the hotel, or to cook your food, or to take out the trash, you gotta understand you are at the mercy, and there's you're paying a higher rate by not taking care of a community that can serve you. You're paying a higher cost by not having them in your community. And you probably got a bunch of turnover rate. You probably got not building and establishing the community. You just got a bunch of affluent people. You got long wait times. You got a bunch of high prices, and you're overpaying for everything you're doing because it's harder for the people to serve you because they ain't got no workforce, and the workforce is coming in. It's a challenge for them. So here we go. Let's say $3,500. Here we go. $3,500 times 4. Remember, $3,500 should be 20 to 25%. And I'm doing 25% of your income. So that means if somebody's paying $3,500 a month and he says, and up, let's make this clear. That's $14,000 a month. Bring home. You're talking about prior to taxes, $14,000 a month. Now let's say $14,000 a month times 25%. That's just basic. Georgia got income tax. I know they do. Grew up there, been there. 14,000 plus 25%. That's 17,500. Let's make it real easy and say times 12. That's $210,000 per household per year. That's bring home. I'm not talking about. Well, no. Let me reverse. That's prior taxes. So $210,000 a year. So for someone to live in those communities, they need to be making about $210,000 a year. So if you got 2 6 figures earning individuals, they can comfortably afford the $3,500. If you got one person that's making 6 figures and they living at $3,500, they're doing 50% of their income. They overextending themselves. They're living nice. They're looking good. They flossing, but they struggling. And I'd much rather live in a community where I'm paying $1,500 a month and I might make $80,000 or $60,000 than that situation there. If I'm making $100,000 a year and I'm paying $3,500 a month in mortgage or rent, I don't need nothing bad to happen. I don't need no car to tear. I don't need nothing bad to happen. And if I do, I'm going to tap into my credit like crazy. I'm going to knock that credit so hard. And this is the thing. Let me tell you, struggles attract struggles. Turmoil attracts turmoil. It's one of those magnetic attractions. If something tears up and you right there on that edge, something else fixing to happen. It just comes with life, y'all. It just comes with life. And that's why you want that buffer. You want that buffer. So if you're at not making $210,000 a year and you're paying $3,500, you need to break that down to $1,750,000. If you're making $100,000 a year, you need to be paying for rent or mortgage $1,750. And watch how your stress level and watch how your burdens and watch how you will advance and be able to save and be able to invest and be able to move freely if you're paying $1,750 versus $3,500. I'm just saying. I ain't the one to tell nobody what to do, but I'm saying these used to be the principles and the standards that the baby boomers taught us. And prior to that, people bought and built their homes with cash. They did not finance. You know, I think after the war, World War II, that's when all that stuff started getting all into this booming, building all these communities, and then it gave all these money to the military, gave all these loans and all that stuff, and that's when it started getting out of hand. But years ago, people saved for their stuff, saved for their cars, saved for their houses. And if they did pay on their houses, it was in line with what they made. It was 20 to 25% of their bring home income. That's what it was. All right, let's go. We remember, our youth is getting ready to experience 40-year mortgage. Keep that in mind. It's already out there, 40-year mortgages. Our youth. Because we keep accommodating this inflation. We keep feeding this inflation because we want to look a certain way. We want to live a certain way. We want to do this. We don't want to think outside the box. And we keep feeding this monster. And we are not setting our youth up for a good situation. And what we're doing, we're sitting here in a situation where they're getting ready to face 40-year mortgages. And that's the only reason why they're doing 40 years, to make it somewhat soften the blow. Because we got people who are used to paying 50% of their income, take home income, for their rent and for their mortgage. And that's a good deal for a lot of people. That's a good deal. And I'm telling you, it should not be. It should not be. Be Rich. What's going on, Be Rich? 1999, my rent was $525 for a 2-bedroom in the ATL. Do y'all see what we're doing? He said, $19.99. Yeah, I get it. I get it. But let's talk about income. That income ain't rose that much. I guarantee you, in proportion to what you made in 1999 compared to now, even if you double, let's just say you double. Just say the average person makes $30 an hour. Let's just say the average person makes $30 an hour. So that means in 1999, they made $15 an hour. So in 1999, a person got it going on, made $15 an hour, right? Person that's not average, a person who living pretty good. He or she made $15 an hour, right? So they made $15 an hour and they paid $525 a month. So you doubled your salary over the next, 25 years. So 25 years, you doubled your salary. That'll come up because rent and triple. So say you making $30 an hour now, right? You balling, you make it balling. What is $30 an hour? Let's do $30 an hour. $30 an hour. 30 times, let's say 40 hours now. No overtime, 40 hours. 40 hours a week, that's $1,200. $1,200 times, because you take 2 weeks off and you got some sick time, let's say 50 weeks. That's around $60,000 a year. So just say, hey, you make $60,000 a year. Right now, your rent should be $1,050. That's what your rent should be. If we living like we lived in 1999. But no, we're comfortable with paying $2,000 and $3,000 a month. Come on. We comfortable with it. And my thing is, what are we doing? What are we doing? We don't want to go. Nah, I'm not going to go with the sacrifice and peace. We don't want to do it. Am I offering affordable housing? No, I'm offering the dialogue. I'm offering the conversation, and I'm offering a change of mindset. I'm also offering that we come together with some solutions. I have a lot of creative ideas, but you do too. If you stop thinking about feeding into the system, you know what I'm saying? We're watching more and more people don't want to talk about affordable housing. A lot of people don't even want to even have a conversation about affordable housing. Period. They don't even want to talk about it. So we need to talk about it. That's the issue. We talk about health. We talking about homelessness. We talking about families sleeping in the car. We talking about food programs. We talking about all that. If you got a sustainable environment, and if you're able to work an everyday job from minimum wage up and be able to have a good, clean environment and a good, clean place to stay, you typically have enough time to take care of yourself better, to spend time with your kids, to do a bunch of stuff. It goes hand in hand. If we could focus more on affordable homes and affordable housing and providing those resources and putting caps. No, if you're making over a certain amount, you can't afford these homes. You can't be qualified for these homes. Yes, we need to create them barriers. We don't need to have affordable housing and then somebody who got great credit, who got a bunch of money, who making $200,000, $500,000 a year to come in and buy the block and then turn around and sell it for a higher price. We don't need that. That's not what we need. We need some solutions where we can truly help the people who are working at restaurants. And we're not talking about people when they tips. We're talking about bringing these people that work at entry-level jobs but take care of their families or everyday jobs. They need a place that's safe, that's clean, that's well taken care of, and not over-policed. Not that. Not drug-ridden. We can control a lot more than what we say we can control. You know what I'm saying? But we need a place, and not a liquor store in every single corner, not a smoke shop in every single corner, because I'm not against none of that stuff. We all got our free will and what we need to do. But when you oversaturate anything and all you see is the same thing, then it tempts you. It tempts you. Not convenience stores, but grocery stores, not just grocery stores with anything. And we need good quality foods. We need communities and environments that can self-sustain our people who are truly in the service industry, the hospitality industry, as well as our everyday utility workers, our facilitators, our administrative workers, all of these entry level or these jobs where they don't make that much money. You know what I'm saying? We need to self-sustain, and we need to think about some true ways that we can form great communities, beautiful communities, even adding gardens, even adding daycares, even adding schools that have flexible work schedules, schools that have that integrate some flexible work schedules within those communities. If you're noticing you're in a hospitality community and you're noticing there's 3 and 4 shifts, and those 3 and 4 shifts with the hospitality communities, they move a certain way. But we gotten so greedy and we so bad that even the hospitality community is still putting pressure on our everyday working class. How do you check in at 4 and 6 o'clock during the afternoon at a hotel? And when it used to be at 11 o'clock, you could check in and you were there all the way to check out that morning, 11 o'clock. It was from 11 to 11. You could go in a hotel room, check out 11 to 11. Now we paying a whole night stay from 4 to 9. Same, more than what we paid prior. That means they got less staff. And if you stay in multiple days, because trust me, I travel, but if you stay multiple days, just say I'm staying here for a week, I'm staying here for 4 days, they're only going to clean your room maybe once or twice out of your stay. They'll bring in towels or whatever. They only going to do that room once or twice. But we paying more than double than what we paid when we had from 11 to 11. Fewer staff. You don't have to house that many people. You got idle buildings, and they just make their money on the heydays and the big holidays or the big events, and they're not really worried about the staff, the working crew, sustainability, how do they make ends meet and what they make. You know, we forgetting about the people who really doing the work. We forgetting about all of this stuff. And then we're looking at pushing automation on top of that. So I don't know. Let me ride through this. I'm keeping y'all too long, and I'm fixing to get out of here. Montreal, Canada. We got 1 bedroom, 1,500. Wow. Okay, 1 bedroom. 1 bedroom. He says. I'm gonna scroll down. Let's see. Juan, what's up, Juan? Long time no see, man. Good to see you, man. Good to see you tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that. Happy 4th to you too as well. Here we go. Younger generation do not want our advice. Eco wants, you make a lot of solid, confident conversation, but you scare me when you include all. That scares me. Because I get let me tell you, I mentor. I literally talked to some youth this week. They're begging for advice. I don't think we are. I think as a whole, we are not inviting enough. We walk into rooms and we expect them to come to us. They disrespect us and we expect for them to say they're sorry. They look a little different. They dress a little different. They mannerism may be a little bit different. But are we approachable? Are we providing a safe, warm, comfortable, non-judgmental, non-partisan environment to invite them because we genuinely want to share our knowledge? And I'm not saying you per se. I'm saying we older people. Are we creating that? Are we creating a sustainable environment based on their technology experience? And why I say that is, if you grew up in the technology age, you grew up in an age where you've been isolated and you went to school virtually, you working virtually, you're doing everything virtually. There's certain skills that we need to learn as older adults on how do you reach our youth? How do you communicate with our youth without being offensive, without being old and antiquated, without being all judgmental, but we are presenting ourselves in a humble way where we're trying to connect with them. And I'm not saying we don't. I'm not saying as a whole. It just scares me when I hear statements for all, like that blanket thing for all. I'm not saying that there are not a lot of abundance, but I want us as grown folks, change our mindset because they are in need of our assistance. We have a great opportunity with these platforms and different things like that. They are in need for our guidance. Our heart should be bleeding to help our youth because we need to create those environments where they feel comfortable. I would not be on this internet right now for old folks. The whole strategy for me being live right now is not for old people. And when I say old folks, 40 years and older, because that's what the youth see us as. I listen to these shows and they're like, I'll do that when I'm 40. I'll do that when I'm 50. I'm like, God, I'm 40, I'm 50. I don't feel old. I don't feel old at all. But in a 19-year-old mind and a 20-year-old mind and a 31-year-old mind, 50 years old seems old. But you see them struggling. You see they going through something. We got to make ourselves approachable. We got to be able to feel comfortable to approach and interact and create that system where they feel like this person ain't judging me. This person ain't trying to just be you are this and look at the flaws you got in this. And I got flaws. I made stupid mistakes. I still make dumb mistakes. Hopefully I don't make as many. But the goal is when you learn and you gain knowledge and then you pray for wisdom and you obtain wisdom. The whole point in obtaining wisdom is to impart it and share it and distribute it. and share it amongst. And who do you really want to share it to? The youth, because that's what we invest in. That's what we should be investing in. Not for our own gain, but for their benefit. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. Let me scroll down. I'm fixing to get ready to bring this to a close, y'all. Let's see. Weldon says, let's see what Weldon got to say. All right. Since all the fear mongering and sidetracking, it's hard to believe change can occur with the people who currently hold power. We don't have decades, and lobbyists and donors are controlling our politics. You know, Weldon, when we were young in the 80s and the 90s, and even in the early 2000s, some of us, we might let me go back to like the 70s. Let's say the 70s, the 80s. I won't say the 60s, because 60 was a powerful moment, and I wasn't born in the 60s, so I can't even address that. But the 70s and the 80s, and I would say even the early 90s, you might have saw the president or even heard from the president once or twice. A politician, you might see him once or twice a year during election time for sure. But we have gotten to the part where we feel like we can't eat and breathe and survive without connecting our lives with government and politicians. And that is very, very dangerous. Because let me tell you why that's dangerous. If you put your foundation, you put your withal into something that is moving, you can't have a solid foundation. And what I mean by you can't have a solid foundation, something that's moving. Let me give you an example. If I'm a politician, let's clear, forget the party, forget all of this. My job as a politician or a community leader is to hear the people, listen to the people. Who are the people? The people are who I represent. So I typically have a district, I have an area, I have a territory to make a plea, the request. The majority of the people I talk to don't want to get involved with politics. They don't want to contact. They're sick of them. They're done with them. There's no accountability. There's no holding accountability. But the people who are talking to them are the corporate, the people that will to do in whatever community you're in, the people that go to those events, the people that have conversations with them, the people that contribute. Some of them not even in that community, some of them not all of that. So if you put your confidence and if you put your dependability on someone or some entity that is driven by people desires and wants, that is not based on your community, not based on your area and proximity, then you're going to be all over the place. You're not going to have that foundation. So what did we do in a situation like that? Years ago, what we did when we didn't hear too much from politicians, we went to the community. We created jobs. We started businesses. We supported businesses that supported our community. We patronized businesses that had the grand openings that was in our community. We promoted the idea of entrepreneurship. If our community didn't have certain things, guess what we did? We erected them. We built those things in our community. But now we don't have communities because we are all in our isolated cubes. We are all these things. We walk into a room, we don't see, we don't interact, we don't say nothing. We go in our homes, our garage door goes up just before we drive up, and before we can get the car turned off, our garage doors are closed. We don't have to go in, we don't have to see nobody. We don't cut our own grass. We have somebody to cut our own grass, to edge the grass. If we didn't have to go to the mailbox, we probably wouldn't go to the mailbox. We don't like communities where all the mailboxes are put together. That means we might have to come in contact with each other. You know, we don't ride buses no more. You know, we don't ride bicycles. We in communities where we don't go for a walk in the afternoon after work because we're working 2 and 3 jobs. You know, when it's the holidays, we don't invite our neighbor. When we see a new neighbor come over, we don't bring a dish. We don't offer to help move any furniture. We see the children out there running the road. We don't talk to the children. And God forbid if we talk to the children, what might happen. God forbid we go and bring a dish, what might happen. God forbid if we help our neighbor with the furniture, what might happen. Because we are all in our contained society and we promote that. And I don't know what it is to fix it, but I can address it and I can say something has to change. In order to get something moving in the direction with a sense of community, a sense of stability, we're going to have to change. We're going to have to change what we're doing. And if you can't relate with certain people, get amongst people that you can relate to, get with people that you can collaborate with, get with people that you can organize with, and then try to expand. Once y'all get comfortable, once you come up with an idea, don't close and box your mind up. Don't close and make just the own niche just for you, but think outside the box and diversify. Meet people that you wouldn't ordinarily talk to. Interact with people you wouldn't ordinarily talk to. Learn the needs, learn some of their desires, learn some of their wants, and then try to meet. And then learn some attributes about them that they can contribute to your organization too as well, and collaborate. You know, it used to be a good company. When you say a good company, it had a great social program. It had a great diversity program. We no longer have diversity program because we don't want to know nothing but except for what we want to do and how we want to do it. And whoever is in charge for whatever hot minute that they're in charge with to make the news, they're going to do whatever they can do to raise the profits and forget the people. Bottom line. So if I can do good, I do good. And I had this one CEO tell me, very high CEO, says, ever since I've been working, he's always had high positions. He says, every job I get is temporary. And this was a high level CEO. Every job I get is temporary. And if your leader is thinking like that, what in the world are we doing with our employees? If your leader says, every job I get is temporary, already he had the mindset from the get-go that I'm out here in the drop of a dime. I'm cut within the drop of a dime. So he's not going to make no sound long-term decisions to benefit, to establish no community, to grow the community, to build a community. He's all about self. And it's not preservation. It's just moving the kids. I'm off to the next one. They fire me, I'm going to the next one. They fire me, I'm going to the next one. And hopefully I get money on stack on top of money. Each move, hopefully before they fire me, I'll be able to lily pad to the next one and then boost my income. And they're leading corporations. They're leading businesses and organizations. So that's what we are, y'all. Y'all, I'm fixing to get ready to get out of here. It has been a beautiful evening, beautiful night. I am going to go back and going to look at Queen. How you doing? Good to see you, Queen. I'm going to go back and look at some of the chat. I'm going to go back and take a look at some of your comments. And I appreciate y'all coming in. Hands and Dirt said, plus here in ATL or Atlanta, they want you to make 3 times the rent to get an apartment. Ooh, we didn't even touch that. We ain't even touch 3 times the rent. Well, hold on. Let me do that. I'm fixing to get out of here. That's what we need to be doing on state. We need to be making 3 times the rent. That's my whole premises. You need to be making 3 times the rent. That's the point. And that's what we have gotten to. Well, we got people that cannot afford it, but they're still making a way and they're still doing it. When you pay your rent, that should be a quarter of your take-home pay. When you pay your mortgage, that should be a quarter of your take-home pay. But you'll get approved for a quarter of your gross. And we be like, I got prove. But what you doing to yourself? Because out the box, you already putting yourself at 30, 35 to 40% by doing that. You're already putting yourself from 25% by doing 25% of your gross versus your take home. You already at probably the least putting anywhere from 35 to 40% of your pay. You just saying, hey, I'm willing to do 35 to 40% of my pay. You already putting yourself in jeopardy. You're already one cold or one flu season away from a downfall. And that's why we in our situation we're in. We need to be making 3 times more than what we're paying. Eco, there are places where there is a 3-bedroom being rented for $3,000 a month. Some people need to move to a location. Oh my goodness. I mean, 3,000. 3,000, y'all. That's all I'm saying. 3,000. That's a lot of money. And if you got it, that's good. You got it, that's good. Let me make my way down. I appreciate all the comments, y'all. It's not that I'm ignoring, but I'm trying to make my way down. Janet Powell, how you doing? I'm trying to catch some people. I'm in Texas. $500 to $1,000. $500 to $1,000. Come on now. Queen says it's like that across the globe. They want you to make triple the rent, not to mention childcare and people who have children. That's why I said what I said. Man, God bless those that are out there trying to do that thing. God bless them. Let me see. Did I see? Wait a minute. What's going on? Somebody told me. Hold on. I'm missing some, y'all. Trying to see if I can find it. I don't see it. Somebody told me. Somebody left a super chat. I overlooked. Be Rich, thank you for the super chat. Be Rich, 2 times super chat. Thank you. Somebody told me. Super chat. I don't want to know my super chat, y'all. Bear with me. Charlotte, Urban Garden. Look at that. Man, you got me doing the dance. Come on, Charlotte. Thank you so much. Bless up to you. Bless up. Thank you, Charlotte Urban Garden. Thank you. Appreciate that. Big ups to you. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. And Stacey, you have a great one too, man. Thank you so much for your support, Charlotte. Thank you. I really appreciate that. We're getting ready to go ahead and bring this to a close. I appreciate y'all coming in. Family Man, thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. The Manifestor's Mind, thank you for coming in. Let me see, make sure I'm not missing nobody. If I have, please, I apologize. I had to go down the chat. Let's see. Urban Garden Chronicles, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Texas, La. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. The Virginia Bushcrafter, what's going on? Bottom line in Washington, D.C. area. If you don't net $100,000, welcome to poverty. That's where we are, y'all. Bushcrafter said it. That's where we are. And pretty soon, 100,000. I mean, already. No, not pretty soon. Already, I just did some numbers. Already, the 100,000 ain't enough. We watching $3,500 rent and mortgage. It's not enough. Rent is Texas. Lala says rent is doubling and tripling for those living in the same place for years. Man, that's same. Ain't nothing changed but the rent. That was a song, wasn't it? Ain't nothing going up but the rent. You gotta have the job if you want to be with me. The salary should be 4 times the rent. See, I totally agree. And if it's not, the problem is people don't have alternatives. People are in cities where they cannot find rent that cheap. It used to be, I can find rent that cheap, but I don't want to live there. It used to be, I can find rent that cheap, but the crime, it's getting so bad that they can't find rent that cheap. Period. Period. Even the hood, even the rough conditioned places are far exceeding the 25%. We gotta redistribute where we are. I mean, I know you love the amenities, you love the idea of living in these beautiful places, these big old places, but we need to redistribute ourselves. Those of you who can do work remotely, if there's an internet signal or whatever, those of you who have creative ideas, who can cook and clean and do different stuff, we need to get organized and start building some communities. Let's take back some of these rural cities. I watch these cities, they just dilapidate. The buildings going down, watching beautiful homes. People don't want to live there no more. Well-built older homes, they don't want to live there no more. I'm watching trees fall in. I'm watching acres. I seen, I'm a realtor. I seen, it blows my mind. I seen house in a lake community in the rural area. Ain't nothing out there. I mean, but there are people out there. There's a little community, probably about 4 or 5 miles from a general dollar store, and probably about 30 miles to your nearest, city or community. But they begging for people to come out. They selling an acre and a half of land for under 10 grand. You know what I'm saying? And you can get you a little knockabout house, and if you can figure out a job or something like that, you might be paying $800 a month. You know what I'm saying? We got to start thinking outside the box. I'm not saying leave your beautiful cities or nothing like that, but reconsider. If you're not leaving your cities, cohabitate with some people with like mind, like thought processes, and instead of buying a house just for yourself in the beginning, just maybe agree on, hey, let's buy a house together, and then we help each other buy each other's house. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay together for 5 years and figure this thing out. You're a single parent, I'm a single parent. Let's get together and let's see if we can raise our children, our family together, and let's have a commonality, and let's see if we can pay for something where we can say, and once we get the equity out of 5-6 years, let's sell it and let's take our $100,000-$200,000 a piece, and let's find us a place we can be and be great. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the world we living in. Kathy B, how you doing? That's the world we living in. Remote, let's see. Remote is where it's at. My job is located in the DMV, government contractor county, but I'm living in South Georgia. That's what you call a clean sweep. That's what you call a clean sweep. You're getting DMV paid in South Georgia. Sweet. Thinking outside the box. Y'all been amazing. Y'all been great. Come on, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let me go back up here. Thank you so much for that super chat. Charlotte Irvin. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Really support this channel. Thank you for supporting the channel. Be rich as always, my brother. Thank you so much for everything you do and all your support. And not only those that just give a monetary, but I got people that come in here. Whenever I go live, they come in live. You know who you are. I appreciate you. Appreciate your support. You always giving positive vibes. You always supporting the chat. You always supporting this channel. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. And for y'all that's new, why not subscribe? More to come, more topics, more conversation. Hit that notification bell. Why not give it a thumbs up? I appreciate you. And to my youth, y'all be strong, hold on. And yeah, we got some work to do, but y'all got some work to do too. Make yourself approachable. And to us older group, try to find you one or two youth that you can have a conversation with, learn a little bit about them, and then find ways that you can maybe help them in any little small fashion. Whatever knowledge you gain over the years, try to help them as much as you possibly can. Y'all, I appreciate you, and I thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much for everything that you do and your support. And until the next time, I want you to make sure. Javon Muhammad, how you doing? I just saw your name. Good. Thank you for coming in. And anybody I miss, it's not on purpose, y'all. It's definitely not on purpose. My heart would love to hit everybody, but I apologize if I miss you by any means. And y'all have a good night. Y'all take care. Y'all stay blessed and continue to stay well. And don't forget, whatever you do, make sure that you keep on growing. Grow. Y'all take care. Stay blessed, y'all.